everyone, it's Clarice and it's time for monthly recommendations. This month's topic is Around the World, which I got so excited about when I saw because as lots of you probably know and are sick of me telling you, one of my main reading goals for this year is to read more books that come from different countries. There are a bunch of different ways that this monthly recommendations topic could be interpreted, but how I'm gonna do it is I'm going to share with you a bunch of books from a bunch of different countries, some of my favorites that I've read so far. First thing I'm going to talk about is We by Evgeny Zamyatin, who is Russian, and I already talked about this in a recent reads video, so I will link that somewhere. But this is essentially a classic dystopian book, the book that influenced George Orwell the most while he was writing 1984. So if you enjoyed 1984, I highly suggest that you read this. It's very similar in lots of ways, but also different in a bunch of other ones. And it's a book that just fascinated me so much while I was reading it. And fascinating books are basically my favorite type of books. Next book I'm recommending is The Shadow of the Wind by Carlos Ruiz Zafón. It's a book that I'm sure a lot of you already know about, and it is from Spain. It's a book that I fell in love with as soon as I started reading it just because of how beautiful the writing is. The twists are kind of soap opera-y at times, but just because of how poetic the rest of the book is, I didn't really mind that because it didn't seem out of place. And another thing I love about this book is it's a book for book lovers. It's about a book lover. It involves the crazy life of this one author, and it's just a really good book, beautifully written. I already actually have a full review of it, so I'll link that somewhere in case you want to hear more of my thoughts. Next, I'm going to talk about Angela's Ashes by Frank McCourt. This is, I think, a memoir, so yes, it is nonfiction. And it's about Frank McCourt and his family and their life growing up in poverty in Ireland. This is a book that I took my time with. It was very emotional. A lot of these things, it's kind of crazy to think that it actually happened to them. It's really sad and really eye-opening, and as someone who is trying to read the world with the main goal of trying to hear from different perspectives or learn from different cultures, it was a good one for me to read, I think, because it opened my eyes up, not just to life in Ireland, I think, but just life in poverty in general, and I absolutely recommend this book for that. Next, I'm going to talk about a longtime favorite of mine, The Book Thief by Markus Zusak, and I'm sure most of you already know about it, so I won't talk about it too much, but it's by an Australian writer and is set in Germany and follows the life of a little German girl in Nazi Germany. It's a beautiful story. I remember feeling really emotional when I read it, and in spite of the fact that it's one of my favorites, I actually have yet to reread this book, so it's long overdue for a reread. Hopefully I can do that soon, but I still definitely recommend this book based on what I remember from it, and I definitely look forward to reading it again. Next, I'm going to be recommending books from my own country, the Philippines. Of course, I'm going to recommend my favorite local literature that I read this year, and that is Elmer by Jerry Allen Gillan, which I'm still so sad that I don't have a physical copy of yet, but it is a comic, and it's about a world where chickens suddenly gain sapience and suddenly become like an intelligent species on Earth along with the humans, and it's so fascinating and made me so emotional, even though it's a story about chickens, and I already have a full review of this, which I will link on the screen again. Next, I'm gonna talk about some books from Canada, but I'm not gonna mention books, and instead I'm gonna mention authors, because these are authors that I'm hoping, after I read more of their work, will become some of my favorite authors ever, because right now I only have one favorite author, and I'm still on the lookout for more favorite authors, and those two authors are Guy Gabriel Kay and Jeff Lemire. So far, I've read two books by Guy Gabriel Kay, A Song for Arbonne and Children of Earth and Sky, both of which I posted full reviews of already, so I'll link that somewhere in the description screen. I might be running out of cards already, so maybe I'll put it in the description. He creates these amazing fantasy worlds that are based on actual history. I love that religion plays a huge part in all of his books that I've read so far. I love that he has strong female characters and just a diverse set of characters in general in his books, and I'm just really looking forward to reading more of his work. Moving on to Jeff Lemire. Jeff Lemire is actually in the comics industry. He writes comics, he does art for comics. I've read Descender by him, and it's amazing. I'm currently reading Plutona by him, which I love, and the last issue is coming out, I think, next week, so I'm so excited to finish off this series because it's so good so far. That's all I've read, but I already know that I love his writing and I really want to read more. Next, a book from Afghanistan, and that is A Thousand Splendid Suns by Khaled Hosseini. I've also read The Kite Runner by him, which is slightly more popular than this, I think, but this I preferred. I read it back when I was first year high school in social studies class, and I reread it last year and fell in love with it all over again. It follows the lives of these two Afghan women and all the things they had to go through, like the discrimination and all the pain that they went through because they went through so much. And if you haven't read any of his books and you really like historical fiction and really emotional stuff, You really should. And lastly, I'm gonna talk a bit about The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo by Stieg Larsson. This is the first book in a series and it's the only one I've read so far, but I enjoyed it so much. It's a mystery novel, it's extremely fast-paced. Even when I was able to guess some things that were going to happen, I still couldn't stop myself from reading it, even though it's not too short of a book. As a computer science major, I also enjoyed some of the computer-related things that were happening later on in the book. And I've also heard great things about the rest of the series, so it's not one of those series that's only really good in the first book and it gets bad. So I'm really looking forward to finishing that, and if it sounds interesting to you at all, I suggest that you read it because it's really good. I know I said that was the last, but I just realized that there's one more thing that I want to mention, and that is Blacksad. Blacksad is a comic that follows a detective named Blacksad, and each issue follows him on a different mystery adventure type thing. And before I get to the story, I just want to say that the art in here is ridiculously good. I love the coloring, and I love the way that they drew the animals. The facial expressions on these animals are ridiculously good. But even though all of them are drawn as animals, this book is actually extremely serious, and it deals with such serious topic. For example, one of the issues here actually deals with like white supremacy with a Nazi type party and that sort of thing, and it's just a really good comic. As soon as I finished it, I wanted to reread it, but I haven't. But I think I might like next month because I really want to. I don't want to talk about this too much, but if it sounds interesting to you at all, I definitely recommend that you pick it up. Okay, so now I'm actually done. I'm still actually in the process of reading more books from different countries, and I'm still not totally happy with the number of books that I've read and the number of countries I've read from, but I'm really happy with my progress so far. So if you have any recommendations from books from countries that I've mentioned, or better yet, countries that I haven't mentioned yet, please leave them in the comment section below. I would appreciate it so much. And also tell me if you made your own monthly recommendations video this month, because I'd love to watch it. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in my next video. Bye!